Today we are going to analyze the most requested battle of all time here on this channel, Kratos, the Ghost of Sparta, the destroyer of pantheons, entering the Dragon Ball universe. But this is not just any analysis, we are going to do this realistically, scaling level by level from classic Dragon Ball all the way up to current Super. This was the most difficult video so far by far. I analyzed everything, studied everything, and even so at the end a lot of people are going to be angry with me. But go ahead and drop a like, and before we begin, I need to establish the ground rules. I will not consider empty figures of speech. You know when they say that attack destroys the universe, like for example in Goku's fight against Frieza, but it actually only destroyed the planet? Or when they take poetic phrases from God of War and claim they are literal, I will not consider any of that. However, when there is a clear statement in official material, a guide, a cutscene, or an authorial declaration, that counts. And I will use the same rule for both sides. So get ready to find out how far Kratos would realistically go in Dragon Ball. Kratos, that name carries weight. A Spartan warrior who was tricked by Ares, forced to kill his own family, and who turned his pain into a crusade against the gods themselves. In Greece, his feats are legendary. He killed Ares, the first mortal to assassinate a deity. He defeated the Sisters of Fate, who wove the destiny of mortals and gods across all timelines. Their threads reached every aspect of existence and time, but Kratos broke their control. He defeated Cronos, the Titan whose very existence created the concept of time in the universe, and overcame Atlas, who literally carried the Greek cosmos on his back, and the guides confirmed that if Atlas let go, all of creation would cease to exist. He killed Poseidon with his bare hands. Poseidon, whose power would defeat Atlas, was begging for his life before Kratos, and Poseidon's death flooded the entire world instantly. He tore off Helios's head and used it as a lantern. He killed Hermes and took his boots. He defeated Hercules, the god of strength. He defeated Hades and stole his claws that rip souls from bodies. And at the apex, he killed Zeus, his own father, the king of the gods, whose power transcended all other Olympians combined. Now let us look at the arsenal of the god of war. The blades of chaos, forged in the underworld, burn with fire that exists where even fire should not. They can extend dozens of meters and cut through practically any material. The golden fleece reflects any attack back at the attacker. The claws of Hades rip the soul directly from the body, killing instantly. The spear of destiny can pierce any defense whenever it strikes its target. The head of Medusa Helios petrifies or blinds enemies, and that is just the basics. Kratos still has access to magic like Rage of Sparta, which drastically amplifies his powers, and dozens of other divine artifacts. Years later, already retired and holding back his powers, Kratos still achieved impressive feats. He defeated Baldur, the god of light. Baldur, who knocked out the world serpent with just 3 punches. And Jormungandr is so enormous that it wraps around all of Midgard, and its battles with Thor were felt across all 9 realms, shattering Yggdrasil, the tree that sustains all of Norse reality. He fought on equal footing with Thor, the same Thor whose Mjolnir can send beings across dimensions. And finally, he defeated Odin, the Allfather, who killed Thor with a single strike and was considered superior to him in power. Now, imagine this warrior with all that power, arsenal, and experience entering the Dragon Ball world, a world where martial artists transcend human limits, where Ki enables impossible feats, where destroyer gods threaten entire universes. How would Kratos do against young Goku, against Piccolo Daimao, and what about the Saiyans who arrived on Earth? What if he faced Frieza, the emperor of the universe, Cell, the bioorganic perfection, Majin Buu, the incarnation of chaos, and in Super against destroyer gods like Beerus, angels like Whis, and even Zeno? The journey is about to begin, and believe me, the answers are going to surprise you, because when we analyze real feats, demonstrated speeds, and confirmed powers, the story becomes far more interesting than you imagine. Even I was surprised, because God of War is much more than just the game. Let us start from the beginning. Classic Dragon Ball, a world of martial arts, where young Goku is just discovering his powers. In the world of original Dragon Ball, Kratos would find a familiar environment, superhuman martial artists, but still within a comprehensible scale. Young Goku already demonstrated absurd strength. He survived machine gun fire, destroyed giant rocks, and defeated the Red Ribbon Army alone. But against young Goku, Kratos would have a clear advantage. His combat experience, divine arsenal, brutality in battle, and characteristics we will detail further ahead would give Kratos a total edge. But he would definitely be surprised by Goku's power. Goku already showed superhuman speed, and the Kamehameha was already capable of destroying mountains. But Master Roshi would be a more interesting challenge because the old man destroyed the moon with a Kamehameha. But Kratos already faced threats of that magnitude, actually larger ones. Cronos, the titan he climbed and destroyed from the inside, was the size of a mountain. The explosions Kratos survived throughout his journey rival attacks that destroy cities or more. But the real test would be Piccolo Daimao. The king of demons showed the capacity to destroy cities, and he could fly, which in God of War terms is already an impressive technique. He could regenerate lost limbs and create suns to fight for him. And here we get the first real problem: flight and ranged attacks. Kratos has the Apollo's bow, the chains of the blades of chaos that extend, and magic, and Piccolo can attack from hundreds of meters away while flying in the air. Even so, if Kratos managed to hit with the claws of Hades, that is the end of the conversation. Piccolo has shown no resistance to soul manipulation, so it would already be over. Raditz changes everything. His power level is approximately 1,500. For context, Master Roshi, with a power level of 139, destroyed the moon. That does not mean Raditz is almost 10 times stronger. Actually, the higher the number gets, the more incomparable characters become relative to each other. So, a character who has just 50 more power within that scale already represents more than double the strength. That is the power scaling logic established in Dragon Ball Z. More importantly, Raditz also has confirmed relativistic speed. Piccolo destroyed the moon in seconds, and Raditz dodges that with ease. But Kratos defeated Hermes. Yes, and that is a crucial point. Hermes is described as capable of running at the speed of light, and Kratos managed to keep up with him. Hermes' boots grant that speed to Kratos, but there are nuances here. Hermes ran on surfaces with predictable patterns, while Raditz flies in 3 dimensions, changes direction instantly, and attacks from every angle with blasts that travel at the speed of light, showing a completely different combat dynamic. Raditz's scouter would also be a problem. It would read Kratos' power level and know not to underestimate him, but it would not read magic. Still, that characteristic would be important for signaling that this is a dangerous opponent and making Raditz take it seriously. Nappa raises the challenge even further. His power level is 4,000. He tanked what came from Tenshinhan, an attack described as stronger than the Kamehameha that opened craters visible from space. He survived Krillin's Kinzan, which cuts through anything. His speed is even more absurd. But here we have something interesting. Nappa is arrogant, playful, and enjoys torturing opponents, and that is an opening Kratos would definitely exploit. The Ghost of Sparta is a master at punishing divine openings. If Nappa gave Kratos the chance to get close, the Blades of Chaos have already cut through gods. The Claws of Hades ignore physical durability. The Spear of Destiny pierces any defense. The problem remains creating the opportunity. Vegeta in the Saiyan saga has a power level of approximately 18,000. His Gallic gun threatened to destroy the entire Earth, and considering he casually destroyed planet Arlia before that, it is not an exaggeration. His confirmed speed is dozens of times above the speed of light, and unlike Nappa, Vegeta is an experienced and pragmatic warrior. But there is a detail many people forget. Vegeta at that time was still extremely arrogant. The Prince of the Saiyans does not lose to vermin. That kind of mentality has already been the downfall of many gods Kratos faced. Uzuru is another factor. Power multiplied by 10, reaching 180,000. However, a much larger target and easier to hit. Would the Claws of Hades work? The Spear of Destiny? These are fascinating questions, and we will get to them. We arrive on Namek and the scale starts getting absurd. Dodoria and Zarbon with power levels above 20,000. The Ginyu Special Forces ranging between 40,000 to 120,000. Each of them would make the Vegeta from the previous saga look weak, but it is with Frieza that we see the true abyss. His first form has 530,000 power level, and to destroy even a large planet, 10,000 would be enough. His final form has 120 million power. Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta with one finger in his first form, and that meant nothing to him. In his final form, his strikes were distorting space. He survived being cut in half and the explosion of Namek. His speed made light look still. And how would Kratos handle this? Would his divine weapons still work? Would the power of the Greek gods be enough? Could magic make a difference? These are questions we need to analyze carefully. This is where the discussion gets really interesting, everyone, because depending on how you interpret Kratos' feat, the conclusions change drastically. Let us take Cell for example. Cell claims to have the power to destroy the solar system. The guides confirm this, but then comes the first interpretation divergence about Kratos. The conservative interpretation. Some say that Kratos just fights to open chests and doors in gameplay. He had trouble against a simple bear in the new God of War, so how is he going to fight Cell? These people take only what appears literally on screen, ignoring the narrative context. By that logic, Kratos would barely get past Raditz. After all, in gameplay, he takes a while to run from one place to another another, while Raditz is faster than light. Kratos takes damage from common enemies, while Cell tanked Vegeta's final flash, the moderate interpretation. Kratos killed gods who hold reality together. Atlas carried the Greek cosmos on his back. Cronos created time. This would give him at least universal power. Here, people accept the feats shown in cutscenes and described in official guides, since most of those guides place Kratos' power much higher than what is normally perceived in gameplay. Atlas really was holding everything. The guides confirm that if he let go, creation would end. By this interpretation, Kratos would have universal power, but would still have problems with Cell's absurd speed and his molecular level regeneration. But there is also the high interpretation. The claws of Hades rip souls, ignoring durability. The spear of destiny always hits. The golden fleece reflects any attack, and Cell has no defense against hacks. These people focus on the mystical abilities. Cell has never shown resistance to soul manipulation. Dragon Ball is notorious for having little resistance to hacks, but also in the Dragon Ball world where we are placing Kratos, remember this is not a neutral universe, there comes a point where depending on the power difference between characters, certain hacks simply do not work regardless of their nature. It is bizarre, but it happens a lot in Dragon Ball. However, even so, even the strongest warriors, depending on the level, can be defeated by a sealing technique, just like Majin Buu was in the past. You also remember when Goku was almost defeated by Ginyu through body swapping, right? So yes, there is vulnerability to explore here. With Majin Buu, interpretations diverge even further, so let us divide the different scenarios. Low scenario. Being more conservative with Kratos' feats, Buu is indestructible, regenerates from vapor, has absurd speed, transform Vegeta into candy, and Kratos has nothing that can permanently kill something that regenerates from molecules. On top of that, Majin Buu also has far greater speed than Cell, so it would already be game over here. However, in the medium scenario, there are other arguments. The Blades of Chaos burn with underworld fire, conceptual fire that exists where it should not. This could prevent Buu's regeneration. Could it? Kratos has already defeated immortal beings before. He killed Thanatos, death itself. And finally, we reach the high scenario. And here comes the controversy. What are the arguments for this high scenario? Pushing Kratos to the maximum across all interpretations. Kratos killed beings that transcend space-time. The Sisters of Fate existed outside of linear time. Kratos became one with reality. Yggdrasil transcends infinite dimensions, and Thor shattered it. Kratos fought Thor. That is the argument from people who say Kratos solos Dragon Ball. They take statements like the underworld is infinite and Helios illuminated the infinite underworld instantly to claim Kratos has infinite strength. They take the fact that Yggdrasil has infinite branches transcending space-time and that Kratos scales with Thor who damaged it to claim Kratos is 5D, meaning fifth dimensional. Beerus and Goku threaten to destroy the macrocosm with their punches. The Dragon Ball macrocosm has multiple dimensions of universal size. By any metric, that is multiversal. Arguments for Kratos. Kratos would also be multiversal, starting from the logic that the primordials created the Greek cosmology as a consequence of their battle. The cosmology has multiple infinite realms. Kratos kills those guys for breakfast. It is also argued that Yggdrasil is described as transcending space-time, with each branch being more complex than the previous. That is literally dimensional scaling, and Kratos fought beings who damaged it. On speed, it is argued that the Sisters of Fate moved through infinite timelines instantly. Hermes delivers souls to the infinite underworld. That would be an immeasurable speed. Of course, that could also be considered a hack. But now let us look at the arguments against multiversal Kratos. Kratos has never destroyed a single planet on screen. Zeus died from normal punches. If they were truly multiversal, all of Greece would explode with every strike. They say Dragon Ball has that plot hole of multiversal attacks not even destroying the Earth. In this case here, it would be roughly the same thing. Infinite speed, Kratos was hit by normal arrows. It took him 3 entire games to go back in time to stop Zeus, something that if he had infinite speed, he would have done instantly. It is also argued that Goku in Ultra Instinct moves on pure instinct before even thought, and it was confirmed that nobody in the universe is stronger than Goku and Vegeta right now. And faced with all of this comes one of the big problems in my study to bring this video together, which happens both in Dragon Ball and in God of War. The problem of inconsistency. Both franchises are extremely inconsistent. Goku was hurt by a rock, pierced by a regular laser, hit by bullets, while Kratos had trouble with a chest. And while Goku threatened to destroy the universe against Beerus, later he fought at an infinitely superior level and nothing happened. Kratos killed Zeus, who supposedly sustained reality, but Athens kept existing. This inconsistency is exactly what allows such different interpretations. That is why some say Kratos stops at Raditz, while others say Kratos kills Zeno. Categorizing Kratos' feats, let us organize all relevant feats by level of reliability. Level A feats, 100% confirmed and seen on screen. He killed Ares, Poseidon, Hades, and Zeus in direct combat, defeated Cronos, survived multiple deaths and returned from the underworld, defeated Baldur, and fought evenly with Thor. Level B feats. Here I am considering official guides and canonical statements. Atlas holds the infinite cosmos, confirmed in multiple guides. Primordials created Greek reality through their battle. Hermes moves at the speed of light and delivers souls to the infinite underworld. Helios illuminates the infinite underworld instantly. The Blades of Chaos are roughly at Mjolnir level in power. That was a statement from Brock. It was also confirmed that Zeus transcends all other Olympians combined. Level C feats. Here we have lore interpretations and indirect scaling. It is argued that Yggdrasil is a 5D structure transcending space-time. Thor damaged Yggdrasil, meaning a 5D feat. Kratos scales with Thor, meaning by this logic Kratos would be 5D. The Sisters of Fate move through infinite timelines, which could push the interpretation to immeasurable speed. Zeus, being one with reality, would scale Kratos as a killer of abstract concepts, and Thanatos preying on the universe would equal Kratos killing the conceptual primordial beings. Reliability analysis. Level A feats are indisputable. We see them happen. The problem is that in gameplay Kratos also fights to open doors and gets hit by common arrows, a narrative inconsistency from the game's mechanics. Level B feats come from official sources but require interpretation. Is infinite cosmos literal or poetic? Is speed of light exact or approximate? Level C feats are where the controversy explodes. Yggdrasil being 5D depends on interpreting transcend spacetime as literally dimensional rather than poetic, and the scaling with Thor assumes that damaging something means having roughly equal power to it, which is quite questionable. Conservative conclusion. If we consider only level A plus B feats, meaning 100% confirmed and seen on screen plus those from official guides and canonical statements, here are some comparisons to make. Raditz with 1,500 power would have a speed of about 2.5 million kilometers per hour and lunar to small planet destruction. Vegeta with 18,000 power when he arrived on Earth had roughly 30 million kilometers per hour speed and easy planetary destruction. Frieza with 120 million in his final form had speeds of hundreds of millions of kilometers per hour and destruction of massive planets, while Cell already had solar system level destruction and speed incalculably superior to light, not even comparable to Frieza's speed, while Majin Buu had destruction levels greater than galaxies and at one point was even threatening to destroy other dimensions. I would not place him at dimensional level, but rather that Dragon Ball powers can sometimes break dimensions, like in that moment with Majin Buu during the Gogeta versus Broly fight, but he still does not reach the universal level. Thinking that if Atlas holds an infinite cosmos and Kratos has comparable strength that is not planetary, it is universal at minimum, so he would already be ahead of all Z villains. If Helios instantly illuminates an infinite underworld, at least that hack would have infinite speed. But here in the conservative interpretation, I will not scale Kratos with infinite speed. Hermes delivering souls across infinite space also suggests speed far beyond the speed of light. But in a conservative conclusion, as I just said, analyzing A plus B with a modest interpretation, Kratos could get all the way to Majin Buu and possibly to the start of Dragon Ball Super, because he would have low universal power. Atlas holding the cosmos, even interpreted modestly, vastly surpasses planetary destruction. Speed faster than light, multiple times faster than light. Here it really is not possible to categorize precisely because interpretations vary greatly, and his hacks would provide an instant kill with no resistance using the claws of Hades, reflection with the golden fleece, and so on. And why would Buu be the limit? Because Buu has extreme molecular regeneration, and also a chaotic magical nature that begins to counter even Kratos' hacks, because he could, for example, turn Kratos into candy. Cell, for example, would have the ability to teleport. Just the movement of placing his hand on his forehead and teleporting as he did to return to Earth would already be multiple times faster than light, and he could destroy everything and survive in space thanks to Frieza's cells. We can consider Kratos might also survive in space, but Buu already scales at a much higher level. He can, for example, break dimensions just with a scream. Analyzing the extrapolated interpretations, this could perhaps place Majin Buu at a dimensional level. Even in the anime itself, it is literally stated he was threatening to destroy other dimensions. You might say that is a hyperbole, but in a moment we will consider them either as hyperboles or literal interpretations for both sides. But in this conservative framework, the battle is uncertain. Majin Buu regenerates from vapor, but has no defense against an attack that could rip his soul. Could he regenerate a new one? Uncertain. We do not know, we have never seen him do that. Frieza and Cell, with their multiplanetary and solar system power levels, also varying greatly in speed from one another, would be destroyed by Kratos in raw power. The issue would be speed and range. But with hacks, Cell could destroy the solar system. However, Kratos literally holds the cosmos on his back like Atlas. Speed would still be a problem. Cell would be multiple times faster than the speed of light. Conservative Kratos is at most several times faster than light, but not far beyond that, which is how Cell is generally categorized. But what about universal power? An instant kill with his hacks. Cell has never tanked anything fighting at that level, so it would really take Majin Buu to create a battle where the outcome would be uncertain, even in a conservative interpretation based on both sides' hacks. So analyzing conservatively, Kratos stops at Majin Buu, or defeats Majin Buu, and stops at God Goku. In other words, in a conservative interpretation analyzing the actual story, not the gameplay, Kratos would surpass Dragon Ball Z and stop in Dragon Ball Super. But now we reach the high interpretation. Considering level A plus B plus C feats with dimensional scaling, Kratos would transcend all of Dragon Ball. Why? If we accept the confirmed 5D power, Yggdrasil transcends space-time with infinite branches. Thor damaged it, so Kratos scaling with Thor could do the same. Immeasurable to irrelevant speed considering the Sisters of Fate who traverse infinite timelines, Helios who illuminates infinity instantly, and the nature of his feats as the killer of abstract platonic concepts like Thanatos, who is conceptual death not just a god, would scale Kratos above. Let us be clear about what 5D means. 4D, which is Dragon Ball's maximum, perhaps Xeno for example, would be multiple universes and multiple timelines, which would be the 4D plus level. Kratos in 5D completely transcends the notion of universes. It is like comparing a 2D drawing to a real 3D object. It is not a question of being stronger, it is a categorical difference of existence. Goku with Ultra Instinct has punches that threaten the multiverse, but Kratos exists in a dimension where the concept of multiverse is an inferior abstraction. Even fused Zamasu, who became the universe, would not surpass that. Beerus destroying multiple universes and Xeno traveling between universes are also inferior in this framework. Only Xeno, who erases multiverses with a thought and exists outside of all hierarchies, could perhaps be 5D, but that is not yet confirmed. My final verdict is that we have two valid answers. A reasonable interpretation is that Kratos would be a universal threat with absurd hacks, defeating even Cell by the power differential, meaning Universal beats Solar System but would have problems with Majin Buu due to his near infinite regeneration and difficulty hitting at Majin Buu's speed level. But if his strikes landed, it would be extremely dangerous, and he would stop at the start of Dragon Ball Super when divine power starts appearing. But in the interpretation with dimensional scaling, Kratos would be 5D and would transcend Dragon Ball conceptually. Only truly transcendent entities like Xeno would have a chance. And why is the difference so large? Because the fundamental question is, do we interpret transcend space-time literally or poetically? If literal, 5D equals Dragon Ball game over. If poetic, universal high, meaning a fair fight through Dragon Ball Super. And that is exactly why some say Kratos stops at Raditz ignoring the guides, while others say Kratos kills Xeno accepting everything literally. The real answer depends on which evidence you accept as valid. But no evidence is valid for not dropping a like on a video with this level of study and work. Since you are here until the end, you enjoyed it, so drop a like, it helps a lot, and subscribe to the channel. I have already done this matchup series with various characters in the Dragon Ball world. You can go watch it, the channel has a lot of great content, and comment below a suggestion for the next video.